Hello and welcome back to another reaction. In this occasion, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, the second episode. So yeah, last time I saw the first episode of the new version of Fullmetal Alchemist, and as some of you mentioned, this is an episode that is not in the manga. It's used to introduce the characters in a very dynamic way, and yeah, it is a good episode. It was a little bit weird because, as I said before, I have seen it and I never, I didn't know about this episode. It wasn't in the last version. But yeah, it was a great introduction and way to see the goals and everything. But I assuming they took elements that are important to the story and add them here. Because as I said before, there are people that I do not recognize in there, and my guess is they are important, or perhaps I do know them but I don't remember them, so that is another possibility too. So yeah, it was an interesting episode and a good reintroduction of the characters, but I don't think you are here for my introductions, you are here for the reactions. So yeah, let's just cut this and watch the episode, shall we? Yeah, this is how it started. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, she's so adorable. Oh, yeah, that moment. The first, yeah, the mistake. Yeah, the elements that make a human being supposed to be, yes. Oh. That's the biggest mistake in their life. Everything is wrong. Holy. Oh, yes. Oh. Hell, even watching it again is painful. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Yes, this moment. Ah. Oh. Yeah, this is the reason as to why he's a genius in alchemy. Yeah, that's awful. Oh man, this is... Yeah, again, this is one of the best animes for a reason. Yeah, oh man. Oh yes, the leg and the arm. Literally, the information cost him a leg and an arm. Oh man. Oh yeah. Man, that is awful. Of course you didn't. Yeah, even watching it again is awful, man. It's painful to see. Oh man. Yeah, you need this moment of, I don't know, that seriousness. Oh man, I still feel the aftermath. Okay. Yeah, I love it. Again, it's a hard episode. Okay, yes. I love her character too. Both Winry and Risa, those are amazing characters. I'm gonna speak about them later on. Because he's just having a terrible experience, yes. Yes, he now is back to his own self. He's just that, yes, of course. But he's desperate for a reason. He has a reason as to why he needs to do that. And I love this anime for that. Oh, yes, the training. Yes. So he didn't saw everything. The only one he showed, what God showed everything, was him. Yes. Oh. Yes. Yeah. Alphonse, no. Yes, he's that. Yeah. He is that. Oh man. Oh, he's fast. Full metal, yes.
そう国家錬金術師に与えられる2つが君が背負うその名は鋼の錬金術師いいねその重苦しい感じ
Yes, that is it.
兄さんそろそろ着くよ
Yeah, I remember this portion. Yeah. It's a long way for that. Oh yes, this is the advance. But I don't know if I should stop it here because, to be honest, I know what is going to happen later on. But yeah, I'm going to stop it there just because, okay? Because yes, this one again is not an episode I have seen before. It's not something I have watched before. Again, the first episode of the last series is actually it's going to be like the third episode for this one. That was the first episode for the last one. But again, it's a nice reintroduction of the characters because this information that we're giving here is well spread out. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna watch this again and be back with my comments. See you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I just watched a second time the second episode of Fullmetal Alchemist. And yeah, it is extremely harsh. Again, I thought this was going to be the episode in which they confront the priest, but no, that is going to happen well in the third one. This one is harsh because you are shown exactly why Alphonse is in an armor and why Edward is, well, without a leg and an arm. It is a harsh episode. This information in the last series, and yes, I know I'm saying this a lot, but I think it's hard not to compare it to the last series. It's been shown little by little during the whole duration of the animation, during the anime. This one is shown almost immediately within the second episode. And yes, it is still hard to see. It's something hard to see. Which is great because you are the feelings that this animation is trying to portray is this desperation, is this well, the mistakes that were made, and of course the consequences of said mistakes. It's not just, oh, it's funny because it has a metallic arm or mechanic arm and nothing else happened, and yeah, it's all games and all that. No, the episode tries to show you the consequences, the very painful consequences of what they did. Because yes, when they were kids, and I'm assuming they were like, well, according to the small segment in which they say they were 10 and 11 years old, when they start researching alchemy. First they start reading the books of their parents, or yeah, their parent, their father. The mom was, of course, so happy to see their kids learning something without the help of anybody, just by reading, which is impressive. And that tells you just how smart these kids are. But of course, this leads to something else. The death of the mom, which happened in the same year they start researching alchemy, kind of trigger the events that happen later on. By my calculations and what I kind of see here, it happened like perhaps 6 years after they start researching alchemy. That is again my rough calculation, and that I came up with this within this episode. And of course, the fact that how young the mother was. The mom died when she was 26 years old. Which means, again, by rough calculations, perhaps I'm wrong, perhaps I'm right, but that means that these two kids were born, or at least Edward was born when she was 15. And the knowledge I have about the father, yeah, it's something difficult to swallow. But anyway, yeah, that's a topic for another video. Anyway, yes, they are, of course, depressed because their mom died, and they believe they have the solution because they have read about human transmutation, which is a taboo for the alchemists. That is something that you shouldn't do. You should never do under any circumstances. It's heavily frowned upon. For a good reason, of course. They don't have the knowledge to make the human transmutation all well in the same moment or just in the heat of the moment. No, they have time to think about it. As I said before, I think those were kind of 6 years of difference. It's a rough calculation. I don't know if it's correct or not. And yes, this part of the episode introduced to us another character, and favorite character. Yes, I am going to say this a lot because most of the characters in this animation are so amazing, so well written, so well done, that really you cannot do anything else but fall in love with all of them. So yeah, we introduced Winry, this little kid, this little this little girl that really is just besides them. She's just always with them. And of course we introduced the grandma of Winry. I love this little banter between Edward and the grandmother. It's just so hilarious because yes, both of them are very short, but perhaps the grandmother is short because, well, she's old. Edward has no excuse because the only excuse he has is that he doesn't like milk, so he doesn't drink milk, and his brother that is drinking milk is supposed to be growing a lot more. And again, I am not going to say anything else in case somebody else is watching this alongside with me and I haven't seen the last series. But yeah, you start to see that these kids are really intelligent because it took them only 6 years of research and to start to, well, trying to create a human being. They keep it a secret because, of course, it's taboo. If somebody else knew about it, hell, even Winry, I don't think she understands the risks of what is here because she doesn't have an affinity to alchemy, just like these two guys, just like the two brothers have. But I think even if somebody hear about it, even if somebody just kind of listen to she was saying, perhaps she just said it casually, they say, oh yes, and they are trying to human transmutation or bring her mom back, something along those lines, that is going to well, unleash hell for them. So yeah, they try to keep it a secret because, well, it's something very dangerous. They don't know, or at least they don't think they understand in that moment just how dangerous what they are thinking about doing is. So yeah, that's why they keep it a secret, because they think they're going to be punished, not in the way that really happened, but something, perhaps they believe that they're going to be stopped doing the research or something like that. That is my assumption, because I don't think they fully understand the consequences of their actions. Hell, every single step they took, even the master that, again, in the last series is introduced very late in the anime, we are seeing her right now, right here. We don't see much about her personality. You kind of see in her eyes that she's a streak, but nothing else. You are still in kind of in the black in regards of her. But yes, I love these, that they introduce elements right now that are going to be shown later on. Yes, and when they finally decide, because their motivation was that, to see their mom again, to see them happy, to be together with her. That's their motivation. That's what's pushing them. And yes, when they finally start to make everything, they name every single element that forms the human body. Of course, only the mass, only what is, well, the human body in general. Perhaps they did some rough calculation, because my assumption is that the amounts are, of course, different according to the weight and the age of anybody else. So yeah, my guess is they did a rough calculation of said things. But what they are missing is something that is not created per se. They are missing, of course, kind of the consciousness of the person. Because yes, you can create like the puppet, let's say a flesh puppet. But if that flesh puppet is just a mind, is just a brain, it's just a heart, that is not going to work. Perhaps you will think of giving the form of, in this case, their mom. But that doesn't mean you're going to be a successful transmutation. And I love the effects in this moment when they start to give. Even with they say the soul of, or something related to the soul of this person they want to revive. It is still difficult for me to understand the human transmutation, even within the context of the show. Because yes, and this is something they should have suspect. You are missing an element. You are missing something else. Hell, even if they study, perhaps because they are children and they oversight a lot of stuff. But as I said before, they are very intelligent children. But you understand as an alchemist that the equivalent exchange. And they must have suspect something there. But of course, they didn't. They continue their transmutation. And I love how this huge eye, that my guess again is the representation of God, of the One, of the time and everything. And yes, once that eye opens, start to pull apart both of them, especially Al. That is such a hard scene to see. I knew that was coming. I knew it because I have seen the anime. I knew what they were going to lose. I knew all of that. That didn't make the watching of that scene any easier. It is still painful to see, because you know how everything they lost. And yes, even speaking about it, I have a lump in my throat because it's hard to speak and it's hard to remember. It is a very strong scene. But again, something that I do not remember from the last version of the anime is this giant door. I do remember that door. That happens in the last episodes of the anime, in the last iteration. But this is the first one. And this is something maybe that I or forgot or never established in the last series. Because I always knew that, or I always thought that Edward was a genius, and that's the reason why he didn't need any transmutation circle to create all the stuff he do with alchemy. No, now I understand, because God, literally God in this world, say, okay, you want the truth, you want to understand why your human transmutation didn't work, here is a glimpse of that. And yes, he just pushed him into this door and show every, or at least what he felt it was, every single bit of information in the entire world. He's start to absorb all this knowledge, and of course, as a human being, and this is connecting somehow to Wakfu, or at least a connection to Wakfu. The amount of knowledge that somebody possesses is limited in these worlds, Wakfu and Full Metal, is limited when you are mortal. When you're mortal, you have access to a certain amount of knowledge, and you can maintain your sanity and your capability of understanding. The intelligent ones, of course, have a major degree. The dumb ones, just a shorter one. But still, if you took a mortal and just give it the knowledge of the world in an instant, something that they would not be able to absorb, not even in a lifetime, because there is so much of that. And you give that person that huge amount of knowledge that will take them several lives to even research or understand, in a second, they're going to go crazy. Or in this case, they're going to be feeling like they are breaking apart, because apparently he break apart quite literally in this animation. But that opened his mind, let's say. He now understood that, yes, technically he was correct. The human transmutation, or the calculation for human transmutation that he did, were correct. The problem is that he lacks certain knowledge for it to be successful. He needed something else. In this case, my assumption is the Philosopher's Stone. Because in this animation, and from what I remember before, the Philosopher's Stone stands for something else than just a stone that is made of different materials. And yes, I understand some of those materials. Again, not saying anything. But that Philosopher's Stone is going to give you a certain advantage in alchemy, which is the certain advantage that they need to bring back, let's say, a human being. And I'm being here kind of sketchy because it's something else. Again, I don't want to say anything. And I love how in this moment, after they return from this travel of knowledge and this travel of understanding, that everything has a price. In this case, this knowledge, the knowledge that he possesses now, the knowledge that Edward possesses, cost him something. In this case, literally, a leg. He lost a leg. Again, this is something I do not remember if it was portrayed in the last series or is just in this one. But yeah, there is a reason as to why Alphonse doesn't understand the transmutation without a circle. I don't know why exactly he wasn't shown what Ed saw. Or at least I don't remember that part. But that is why Edward is so much talented, so much more talented than Alphonse. And yes, we saw this creature that was summoned by these two guys. That thing wasn't alive. It was kind of moving, but wasn't alive. And of course, this caused the entire body of Alphonse. And the price that Edward has to pay to bring his brother back, even if just an armor, just bound the soul to an armor, was an arm. So yes, this is something a lot more deeper than that. The sacrifice that are made by these two children, literally children, the sacrifice they did were, well, astronomical. This is something very interesting to see. This is something a lot more deeper. And yes, in the few seconds, hell, in the few minutes after they end the scene, after we know how Alphonse was brought back to the armor, we saw a kind of a calm scene. Unfortunately, I was still shocked because yes, as I said a million times before, I have seen these. I know what is going to happen. That doesn't make it any easier for me. It is still, I still feel bad speaking about the scene, because yes, it is that strong. And yeah, the little discussion that these two guys have, Mustang and Hughes, it's an interesting one, because one of the few people who know exactly what happened to the brothers is the colonel. And he knows that they went already through hell, and that they research the way they try to find the philosopher's stone to recover their bodies is what is pushing them beyond the limits of anything else. So yes, this is a very heavy scene. And again, we saw another heavy scene after that, when they were discovered making the human transmutation. The Colonel Mustang was very angry with them, and then we saw, of course, against Risa, a younger Risa. Yeah, we see a complete devastated Edward, and of course the armor that now is Alphonse. They are completely empty in that moment. They start to see what they did. Hell, even the only one who could speak about that is Alphonse. He asked for forgiveness, and this kind of creates sympathy in Mustang, but still, he recognized the talent. That for them to be this young, and perhaps I miscalculated here, for them to be this young, they are very talented and very. They will be a good addition to the military. And yes, I love how the speech that convinced them worked, because Winry was trying to convince Risa was trying to convince Winry, and Mustang is trying to convince the grandmother. The grandmother, of course, is just against everything, and of course, what he was really trying to do was convince the brother, not the mom, not the grandma, the Winry's grandma. This is again an interesting concept, because yes, Winry doesn't like military. She doesn't like soldiers. And she expressed said idea or said concept she has of soldiers. Risa again is very sympathetic, because she is just a child and she understands that. But once she starts to speak about the only ones that really will make the decision of going away and trying to get into the military are the brothers, because yes, they're going to offer them a chance to redeem themselves, to recover what they lost, or at least physically lost, because I don't think they will offer ever the chance to make a human transmutation again. But they offered that opportunity, and if they took said opportunity, they could become again whole. I don't think they will try to ever bring their mom back, not in that foolish way. But yeah, they are offering the chance of kind of redeem themselves in the mistakes they make and try to recover the body parts, especially Alphonse. Because I think Edward is doing this mostly because of Alphonse. I don't think he cares if he keeps, well, the automail all his life. What he cares about is recover Alphonse's body, because that is important for him. And yes, I know the little hints that are given in this second episode, because the reason as to why Risa is in the military is because she wants to protect somebody else. And I think I know who that is. But again, I'm gonna say nothing in here. Yes, they decided to join the military, and Winry changed her mind a little bit about soldiers. And yes, the first step is the rehabilitation and the uses of the automail. Because now we see in the eyes of Edward that he is just committed to that. He has that fire in his eyes again. Before that scene, we saw him kind of hopeless, soulless, and just kind of plain. But after that, we saw that determination in his eyes. And yes, I love the determination that is shown later on, because normally it will take like 3 years for rehabilitation and of course the introduction of the automel. But no, he did it in 1 year because he wants to recover the body of his brother as soon as possible, because he feels responsible and the sole responsible of the disappearance of the body of Al. So yeah, that's why he wants to. And then he's training, just physically training his body to recover himself. Well, I don't know. Recovering his body so he can move again freely with it, with the new automel. And yes, I love, this is the first time that he acknowledged, or everybody acknowledged, that he can do transmutation without the circles. And yes, the reason as to why is because he was shown a lot of knowledge. And yeah, I'm not gonna say anything again because again, spoilers, and I was about to just open my mouth without realizing. But yeah, he was shown a lot of knowledge, and of course, this knowledge is costly. But he went away and do the exam because yes, you need to make an exam to pass as a state alchemist. And yes, I love Winry's attitude because yeah, she loves the automel so much and doesn't want to be changed at all. For her, it's perfect now. But yeah, again, we're given little hints because she's supporting them, I guess. But the one that she is going to support the most is, of course, Edward, because she said, "I'm going to create automel for you," and I love that little hint there. Of course, we see the exam, and in this case, even the president is there. King Bradley is there to witness the exam because, well, it's a 12-year-old. In that moment, a 12-year-old is making the exam. And again, this is when I noticed that I make a miscalculation. So, yes. I'm gonna rectify that calculation. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, they make the exam. Of course, they ask, do you need something to draw the circle? But no, I said, no, I can do it. And yes, that is impressive because I don't think a lot of people can do that kind of transmutation without a circle. And it's impressive. But again, we're shown that King Bradley is something else because he's way too fast. Because he cut the freaking lance when he was about to be attacked. And yes, again, he's portrayed like kind of this goofy grandpa that loves everybody, but there is something deeper in there. This, of course, is shown several things. The talent, Edward's talent, King Bradley, dangerous side, and the attitude he takes about everybody else. And yes, Edward is named a new state alchemist and given his name, in this case, Fullmetal. It is an interesting document that is seen there because, yeah, it is in a complete English and very well written English, if I said so myself. And it's interesting everything that is portrayed in said document. Of course, the naming and who is signing that document, the name of the country, the name of the province, prefecture in this case, not province, and of course, what the title of alchemist or state alchemist give you. In this case, it gives you unlimited, almost unlimited resources to do your research. It gives you access to restricted portions of information, and of course, it gives you the obligation to fight for the state when you are needed. And of course, that you will be evaluated every year, so we can see your progress on your research. This is something that they need because they need the information, all the information they can bring to create a philosophical stone, because that is their ultimate goal, to recover their bodies, because they know they need that philosophical stone to recover, especially Alphonse's body. And yes, the episode ends when they are about to enter this new city, this new village, because it's not a city, it's a village. I think it's Islav. Give me a moment because I don't remember the name of the village. Okay, yes, I just checked it, and yes, it was a city, the city of Lior, and of course the main antagonist. which I'm not gonna mention, but it's a priest, and it's an interesting episode next time. I was saying next week as if they were still coming out, but no. Next time I watch this one, or the next time I record all of this is going to be an interesting episode. Hopefully, it's not going to be too long. But yeah. Again, Fullmetal Alchemist, even in the second episode, is showing you why it's considered one of the best animes ever made. The story is deep, the characters are flawed and interesting, and everybody has a little bit of a secret around them. And it's mysterious, and it's a very interesting. And again, it's shown the consequences of every single action, which is something, as I said before, in Boku no Hero Academia, is something very interesting to see. Because some animation is just, okay, it's a battle, but in a few months it's forgotten. And again, the miscalculations I did. Yes, she wasn't 15. She was 26 when she died. But my guess, when they tried to make the transmutation of a human, my guess they were like 11 and 10. So that means like 6 years passed between the death of the mom and the first attempt to the human transmutation. So yeah, she wasn't that young. I think she was 20 when she had Edward and 21 when she had Alphonse. Those are my rough calculation again, which makes a little bit better. Not that much, because again, I know the father. But yeah, that's my recalculation of the ages. This is a very interesting episode. Again, they throw everything heavy in here, because yes, the reason as to why he has ultimate, and the reason as to why he's a moving armor with just a soul attached to it, it's very heavy and it's something very hard to swallow. Again, this is a very, very amazing anime. It's such a great anime. I'm so glad to finally decide to watch it, and I'm glad. I'm hoping you enjoy this, and I'm glad you're watching alongside with me, or rewatching perhaps alongside with me. But yeah, this is great. This is a great, and I cannot wait for the next episode. But anyway, as always, guys, the only thing I have to say is thank you for your comments, for your likes, for your views, and for your subscriptions. If you want to be a subscriber, click on the button for subscriptions and on the bell so you can get notifications. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. I exhausted the topic of the episode. I hope you enjoy it, and the only thing I have to say is thank you so much for your attention, and see you on the next one. Bye.